back from like reshoot literally the entire film. It was like a 12-week reshoot schedule that they had. That is principal photography on a film,
right?
You know, like they don't have a clue, and for some bizarre reason, they're happy to pour money into it. But then all that gets released is a disjointed piece of shit.
Kathleen Kennedy is the only
clear for everyone to
producer in
see.
history that I can think of that has reshot more than one movie twice.
God.
Solo and The Last Jedi just come to mind offhand. Or not The Last Jedi, Rise of Palpatine.
And we're not talking about standard scheduled reshoot.
No. Yeah, completely reshot the whole movie.
Yeah, we're talking about proper bare bones, going back to the drawing board. Like, yeah, absolute jokers. Absolute jokers. They really are. What a shit show. Well, speaking of Kathleen Kennedy, again, Indiana Jones sounding worse and worse. You see why I titled it that now. Kathleen Kennedy wanted James Mangold to jettison Marion Ravenwood from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Apparently, this is a rumor.
I believe it. That's
obviously.
Why she was divorcing him in the movie. She wasn't meant to be there.
Yeah. Again, you hear this and you go, yeah, it's a rumor, but I can believe it. The evidence is there in the film.
I'll tell you why, Nate. Talking about storytelling. If both of them are dead in the movie, he has zero reasons to come back to the present at the end of the movie.
Yeah, that is.
So that matches up directly with what I feel was probably the original ending.
Well, it lines up with the dialogue. I have nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and a divorce doesn't quite cut it because he was clearly, no, you're right. Absolutely right. So, new rumor claims Kathleen Kennedy, as dull as dishwater and as fucking moronic as well, was behind his decision to jettison Marion Ravenwood from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So, again, comes from WDW Pro. Good source. So he relayed that one of his sources informed him that Marion and Indy were together for this adventure again in the Spielberg scripts that were put together, and that when James Mangold came in, that he was heavily influeed by Kathleen Kennedy to drop Marion and switch to a younger woman who would be able to essentially act as the new lead, and then have Harrison Ford play the part of a broken kind of Indiana Jones, which James Mangold likes a sour, dour movie anyway. And I like James Mangold. He made one of the best films of what was it, like 2019 or 20? I can't remember, 2020. Ford versus Ferrari, incredible film. He's a brilliant filmmaker usually, but obviously he did this for hire, and his type of filmmaking doesn't line up with Indiana Jones. And obviously Kathleen Kennedy was like, look, do this for me and you'll get your Star Wars film that you can just do what you want on, really, because it's set in the past, so do whatever. I can believe all of this. I can believe all of this. I can believe that Spielberg's scripts, Indy and Marion were together. I can believe that. And I can believe when Mangold came in, his normal dour tone plus Kathleen Kennedy going there and talking to him, no, you need to change this. And him like, oh yeah, it sounds about right. Sounds like what I would normally do. I can believe all of this. I can believe all of this.
Through nasally cocaine nose job voice.
and then WDW Pro said, in all fairness, I'm told that Harrison Ford was keen on that because he wanted to have a more hefty role in terms of pushing his acting abilities with Indiana Jones. He did not want to play the same Indy for the fifth time. There you go.
There we go.
Don't listen to that.
There's the rub.
Is as guilty as everyone else, and he deserves no sympathy for this.
Yeah,
because he's every bit as guilty.
Andre was saying that Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, and as we know this, because as we were just saying earlier in the show here, there's certain actors, there's a handful, you can say they know their character and you can listen to them. Harrison Ford's not one of them.
Karen Allen literally said this to Variety, said that she had a much larger role in the film Steven Spielberg was planning on making before he stepped away from the film in 2020. I think because the last time you see Indy and Marion, they've gotten married. I don't know that I thought we'd pick up from where we left off. Yeah, didn't everyone? But I did always imagine that it would be a story with Indy and Marion going forward. When Steven was going to direct the film, I think the scripts were more focused on an Indy Marion story. But when Steven stepped aside, and James came in, he started fresh with new writers, and they just went in the direction they went in.
Well, and there we have a good idea of why Spielberg probably left too. Anyway, sorry, continue.
No, it just says they were going to tell a different story. That's not to say that I had ever read a script that Stephen was working on, because I hadn't. But I just knew from conversations that we'd had that the ongoing story had involved Marion in a much bigger way than the story that they ended up with.
Was Stephen at that premiere thing, Nick?
In L.A.?
Yeah,
he
was it just George? Was he there? I couldn't remember.
No, Stephen was there.
Yeah, Stephen was there.
Because
he's still an executive producer and all that shit. Yeah.
Well, no, it's because he made Kathleen Kennedy look a complete fool.
That's right. I was trying to remember. Was that him? Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, like made her look like an absolute.
But
fool.
I speculate that that's what came between him and this production was her. If I had to take a guess.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy.
She probably threw her dick around and said, "Guess what? I'm the boss now, Stephen."
Yeah. I can believe that. Again, you hear these things, you go, "Yeah, I can believe it."
I fetched your coffee for all those years, Stephen. Guess what? Now you fetch my coffee.
You fetch your man, bitch. You're my bitch.
How much
now.
you want to bet that she even told that him? Like, yeah, now I'm in charge. Stephen, go get me coffee.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet that
I wouldn't be
actual
surprised.
conversation happened?
Because what else is going to come between him and Indiana Jones? Because I'll tell you one thing about Steven Spielberg. Even when his heart wasn't in it with Crystal Skull, he was at least there, right? Like this, he's very protective of certain elements of his life because he saw Jaws get away from him, and he vowed never, ever to let that happen again. The Jurassic series, yes, he stepped back from, but he also made sure that he was, still overseeing that franchise's quality going forward.
Yeah.
Right. He has a very specific idea of what he wants to do with things. Crystal Skull wasn't it. I'm sure he thought, okay, this one's mine. And when Kathy's sitting here going, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this. And he's like, well, what about what I want to do? And what the fans want. And she's like, well, fuck the fans. We're going to do this because we got to keep this franchise going because I'm the boss now and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, guess what? I'm done. I got better shit to do than watch you kill Indiana Jones.
No. Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it.
And George already knowing how things are operating over there because he's
George
already
is like an abused wife at this point.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting involved because he said it. I would just muck everything up. They're not going to do what I want them to do, and I can't make them. So, they'll go their way. I'll go mine.
Jesus.
He just shows up for photo ops. And look, honestly, I hate saying this, but I've heard some rumors about George's health not being the best lately either.
He the last time I saw him in public, he is needing help, to get out of the car.
I'm not implying anything, but it did look, again, like he had something happen and he's not doing the greatest right now. I don't know.
I mean, he's getting up there in age for sure. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
Yeah.